This video is part of a presentation on denial of service on RTC systems. This is the third part, which is about DoS on the media. So the most common problem that we find when it comes to DoS on the media is RTP bleed. This is a vulnerability that affects systems that proxy RTP, especially when they try to address problems related to NAT. So I'm not going into detail on this because it's quite complex. But if you're unfamiliar, then I recommend that you check out my presentation from Camellia World in 2017, which was just about this topic. However, we have just a bit of a reminder about for those that are already familiar with this security issue. This diagram will show you an RTP proxy that is relaying RTP between Bob and Alice. Now, if you have Mallory who decides to send RTP to the RTP proxy on the port that Alice is sending RTP to, a vulnerable proxy would learn that Mallory's IP address is possibly where it should send Bob's RTP packets. Same thing would happen if Mallory were to send RTP packets to the port on the RTP proxy which Bob is sending to. What would happen is that Mallory would end up getting RTP packets that are meant to go to Alice. So the result is that the RTP packets end up going to the attacker, Mallory, rather than the legitimate callers. And attackers can be very fast, sending lots of RTP packets on the ports allocated for RTP on the proxy. Now, since this is a race condition, it might not be successful all the time, but when the attack is successful, the call goes mute. So we have a demo showing this attack. Same beautiful diagram, but this time there is only one attacker and an RTP proxy on top of Camellia that is vulnerable to attack. We also have Zoiper and Linphone that are communicating over the RTP proxy. So first we SSH to the target machine and start Camellia. Then we start RTP proxy and we can switch to the window where Linphone will be run in the background. So Linphone is configured to auto answer, register with Camellia server, and play the same audio, playing some audio whenever a call is answered. So next we start Zoiper and make a call to the Linphone to see that the calls are working. Now, since I started Camellia before RTP proxy, the first time it doesn't work, but the second time the RTP will be proxied correctly. So let's do that again. So we know RTP is being relayed. Next, we can SSH to the attacker machine and start the RTP bleed attack using SipVicious Pro. So what the tool is doing now is scanning the RTP ports on the RTP proxy, looking for ports that are open And if we do a test call with Zyper, we can see that RTP Bleed is actually immediately taking over, and no audio comes through to the phone. We run the test again. And at first the audio does go through, but then Subvicious just immediately takes over that port as well, and the call goes mute again. So we came across something similar, but actually affecting the TLS. This was a WebRTC system. So basically, it was an RTP proxy or a system downstream that was handling the TLS and SRTP in a WebRTC environment, and it had this security logic which said that if the TLS hello message has the wrong certificate, treat it as a fatal error. The problem was that this proxy would take this action at any time during the call and while it's relaying the SRTP packets. Therefore, if an attacker were to send the TLS hello packet during the call to the RTP proxy, um, handling that call, the call would get disconnected because the TLS packet is untrusted. So similar to the RTP bleed attack, what the attacker would do is send the TLS hello messages with invalid client certificates to the RTP proxy and disconnect all the ongoing calls. If the attacker does this for a sustained period, the service would deteriorate drastically. So that's all we have when it comes to the DoS on the media. Please check the next video, which is about attacking RTC monitoring tools.